course, the second I go to record, I forget everything, but that's okay. So I did post a vlog of our drive, our 3-day drive across country for Christmas. So I can kind of start there. Because my whispered ramble was in November. It was I talked about everything we did from July to November. So for this, I can talk about December to April. So over Christmas, we had a lot of fun. We stayed pretty busy. So let's see, when we got into town, I worked from my parents' house because I work remotely, so I worked from my parents' house almost the whole first week that we were there, because I get off between Christmas and New Year's Eve every year, so I just worked from my mom's house, my parents' house. But one of the days I went and actually worked from our office in person, and because we had our Christmas, our work holiday party, so I got to see everybody. That was kind of cool. My nose is red. And then the next day, we went to my friend's house. We took the kids into my friend's house. It was the first time I saw her house. They bought their first house. So we went over there for dinner and hung out and drank a ton of wine. And then the next day, we went back to that friend's house and I worked from her house. And we had a mini Christmas party with just my friends who were my roommates in college. We're still friends. So, we all stayed at the friend's new house, and we worked from her house, and then we went out and, what did we do? We went out to a winery, and then got dinner, and then hung out. We did Secret Santa gifts, which I have a video of wrapping her Secret Santa gift that's linked there, and slept over, which was nice. So we didn't have the kids with us. It was just mommy and daddy time away. So that's always fun. And that was actually my son, who was almost 2 at the time. That was his first night away from both mom and dad. We've both been away separately, but he's always at the other parent. So that was the first. And he did really, really, really well. Then, we went home after that. So we went home after that, and then I think just hung out with my parents for a few days, because then it was Christmas. I'm gonna look at my calendar for dates. Yeah, the next day was Christmas Eve and Christmas, so we were at my parents' house for Christmas, and it was just my family, and then my brother and his daughter came over, I think Christmas Day, so we got to see them. And the day after Christmas, we drove 2.5 hours to see my husband's grandfather and his wife. So we spent the day with them. And then when we got back to my parents' house, my sister and her family was in town. So then we got to see them. honestly, like, I think they only even worked on the car for like 3 weeks. But like 5 weeks was them going back and forth with insurance, like getting the insurance to come out and then getting them back to come out and then getting them to pay them, and it was like the biggest headache. So my advice is, if you get into an accident and you need to have your car taken to a company, call your insurance company first and to have them tell you where they like work directly with, because it'll go much faster. We took it to where the dealership suggested because I didn't know what I was doing. And so they're not like officially on the list of my insurance company. It was still covered, but it took more time to like go back and forth, which was really frustrating. So it was like 2 months without the car. So they didn't actually get their birthday presents until March. And then my poor son, we were gonna go out. So that week, and thankfully, like, I work from home. My husband stays home. The kids are at home. They don't go out a lot. Now we're starting to get them into activities, but at this point, like, we didn't really leave the house for like a week, and I had cold symptoms that whole week. Just like a really bad cold. And I was like, oh, it's just a cold, like, no big deal. Thankfully, like, I didn't really go out at all. Actually, I didn't go out at all, so I didn't really see anybody while I had the cold. Obviously, we were driving the day before his birthday. But like, I didn't leave the house that whole week that I was sick. And so that night, we got in the car, we had the car accident, and then that night, food started tasting bad, and like, it wasn't even all food, it was just like 2 specific things tasted like garbage, and I was like, oh no, that's different and not a cold symptom. And so I was like, so I ordered a COVID test, drive up through Target. So the next morning, which was my son's birthday, I went and did the Target pickup, like the drive up, and got the COVID test. And so we went home, I took it, and it was positive, and I was like, damn it. So then we obviously canceled his birthday plans, and we didn't see his grandparents who we live with. We just did like FaceTime opening presents with them because one of them works in healthcare, and they were also about to visit relatives, so they were like, we're not gonna risk it, obviously. What's weird though is, like, according to the CDC, like, you're supposed, like, it says like 5 days after your first symptom you're fine, but that just doesn't seem right. So like, by the time I took out the positive, technically I was done quarantining, but it just didn't feel right because I had symptoms. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just not gonna like see anybody till my symptoms go away. My symptoms went away like 3 days later. And like, I mean, it was like a cold. Like, I literally I didn't even have the slightest inkling it was COVID until my taste went weird, and I was like, damn it, that's probably COVID. But I'm glad that happened, because then I was like, oh, ding ding, let me take a test. So then the next week, I didn't do anything. Actually, next week and a half. So then I had like basically a week of no symptoms. And my brother visited because he was traveling for work. So he visited, and this was the brother I did not get to see at Christmas. So then I did get to see him here. So he got to come see our place, see the kids, all that fun stuff. So for my son's birthday, we just he got presents, and I had already had a cake ready, and then, what else? Sorry, I'm distracted looking at the calendar. And we just ordered pizza, and honestly, he didn't even really notice, so we were lucky about that. So then, in the month of February, he's 5, he started gymnastics, so now he's doing gymnastics, which is really cool. He likes it. That's where he is right now, which is how I'm able to film. It's quiet. So he started gymnastics, so that's fun. it's like there's so much anxiety, and like you question it, and then you take multiple tests, like, okay, is it real? Is it gonna be chemical? Is it gonna be a loss? Like, it's not like black and white, like you take a test and that's it. It's like there's always at the beginning a lot of concern and anxiety and like a second guessing too, especially if you want it. You're like, this is too good to be true, like, is it really happening, you know? So Easter's coming